Hello, my biddies. A little early today. I have all kinds of stuff on my, probably for me dropping it. Dropped my computer. Just dumb. Um, I hope you all are doing fine. I had a very busy weekend. I got enough sleep until last night. Then I woke up at 5 this morning. Was not happy. Still not happy. Do I look tired? I feel tired. I feel really tired. Plus, I didn't get any work done this weekend. So there's no reality TV roundup. Don't have that today. Um, I don't even have the stuff for the week done yet because I'm tired. So tired. Very busy weekend. My son and daughter-in-law decided to have join a yard sale that one of their friends was having. My daughter-in-law's friends. Um, so we watched the boys Saturday from like 10 until 7ish, I think. And then on Sunday we went to see a relative. We left at 10 and got back at 7. And then yesterday, we had the kids from 10 until 9:30 last night for their garage sale. The garage sale got busted. The cops. They did not have a permit. They could not put signs up. So after they got busted, they had no more customers because the cops took out their signs. Before that, they were doing pretty well, from what I understand. But they got less customers Monday when the weather was nice than on Saturday and Sunday when it was raining. So that was fun for them. The boys did go to the parade. I guess we had the boys a little later than 10. It was like 11, I think, when they got dropped off. Saturday, the little one BW didn't want to leave. He said, I want to stay here forever and ever and ever and ever. We were watching some Disney movie that he knows. He knew he was coming back on Monday. He could finish. But he just wanted to stay here forever. Like, no, you're not staying here forever. Then I got mad at him yesterday because I asked him if he needed to go to the bathroom. He said no. 2 seconds later, he's standing in front of me, grunting. I said, are you pooping in your pants? He said, no, I'm peeing on my brand new carpet. Brand new rug I just bought. Just like literally laid out yesterday. Just like unfurled yesterday. And he's already peed on it. Fantastic. I'm so happy. I was so mad. Made me mad. Not necessarily mad at him, just mad that it happened. Like, all he had to do was tell me he had to go to the bathroom. We could have made that happen. He had time between the time he told me he didn't have to pee and the time he was peeing to run upstairs and go potty. So 2-year-olds, what are you gonna do? Can't. They're too cute to eat kill. But you can't live with them either because they'll drive you insane. It drives me insane. And then I had to put a truck in timeout because they were fighting about it. I literally picked up the truck and just put it up. Like, no, you guys don't get to fight about it. The little one was playing with it, but he wasn't touching it at the time. So the older one was always complaining about the little one coming and touching things, coming and getting things that he's not touching. Tried to take it. He's like, no, I'm playing with that. Not on that. Not like that. He screamed it. And then hit his brother. The little one's a fighter. The little one, not so much, even though he's the wrestler. Little one's a fighter. He's going to be bigger than the bigger one. He eats more. And he's tougher. An attitude. The older one's a sweetheart. The little one's a stinker. I love them both, but they have different personalities. They're so funny. The older one said something really cute, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was. I'll have to ask my husband. I'm not sure. He was in the room at the time. He was supposed to be helping me on Monday. His idea is that he's going to start taking Mondays off and work Saturday. I don't know. After yesterday, I don't want him to do that because he's not a help. He's a hindrance. Like he all of a sudden decided he needed to mow the lawn yesterday while they were here. It's like, can you come out and watch them while I mow the lawn? Sure, not a problem. You left the older one in the basement by himself. Smart. If you have never seen if I've never shown you pictures of our basement, it looks like the basement from Home Alone, from the Lego show, the Lego movie. The Lego movie is our basement. Like, not even kidding. Like, laughed so hard when I saw that basement. Like, the tables are built the exact same way as our basement tables for Lego. There's millions of Lego down there. Millions of bricks. Millions. But the 4-year-old is getting to where he's almost 5, so he's getting to where he's a little more trustworthy. He's not going to cut up little tiny wires again like he did when he was 3. So I think he can be down there now. I'm almost ready to buy a TV for the basement. Like the carpet's there now. It had to be cleaned already, but it's there. Little stink pot. I would have washed it if he'd done that earlier. I would have washed the clothes if he'd done that earlier. I have a great washer now. I can do tiny loads. It literally has a button for tiny loads. Little tiny loads of laundry that I can do. His dad asked where his socks were, and I'm like, he peed them. Hello. Oh, yeah, so such is my life. And then I woke up at 5. I got 3 nights of 8 hours of sleep. And then I wake up at 5 this morning. I got like 4 hours of sleep, I think, last night. Very tired. Very tired and unhappy. Tomorrow I'll be here at 11:30 because I'm gonna get off of here and finish my week's work. Finish setting up for the week. I will not have a reality TV tomorrow, or probably not even on Thursday. We'll do Balin again on Friday because I'm not getting behind on again. I'm not getting behind again. And then next week we're starting 3 days a week. So maybe I'll get a break. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen anymore. It's just, this is my life. Next weekend we're supposed to go to Ohio. I don't know if I'm going to go. I might opt out. We're just going to go see my brother-in-law and in a train. I'd really like to see the train. It's Big Ben, I think it's called. It's a giant train. Kids have already seen the Polar Express. It came by last weekend. So they went last weekend, not the weekend before. I can't even remember what day it is. I'm so tired today. Have I said that enough? I'm tired. As my grandma used to say, I'm tired. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I need to wake up. I did have coffee this morning. It did not help at all. The tea never helps. There's not enough caffeine in it. I was raised on it, so my body's used to it. It does not affect me whatsoever. It's like, yeah, this is the proper amount of caffeinated drink is supposed to be in your system. All right, I guess we'll get into it. Maybe I'll wake up halfway through or something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't even know what I was going to say. I was thinking about the movies we watched this weekend. Greenland 2 is pretty good. Can't remember if we watched My Man Godfrey this weekend or last weekend. What else? We watched The Naked City last night. That was good. It was long though. It was long and weird, but not bad. It was like Dragnet. You like Dragnet? You like The Naked City? I think it might have been what Dragnet was based on. To be honest, it's a drama. It's a crime drama. It's a murder mystery. Who killed the lady? It was weird. At one point, there's a cop car driving with sirens on, and the guy goes, "Haven't you heard? There's been a confession." It was a false confession. Like, where are you going? There's been a confession. So it's over. Like, there's not more crime in New York than that one murder. Like I said, it's weird. Well, first up, we have entitled people. Entitled, coworker tried to get me fired for my reasonable accommodation. Those are always fun. They're always fun. For context, I'm autistic and pick at my fingers until they bleed if I'm anxious or have to sit for long periods of time doing nothing, which meant I was allowed to knit or crochet between my duties at my last job. This is not a bad accommodation. This should be an accommodation for anybody. This should not even be accommodation. This should just be an allowed activity. Because I was in a job where you had spurts of lots of activity and then long periods of nothingness. So yeah, we did spend a lot of time on our phone. Me and our bosses spent a lot of time on the phone. It was a really quiet job with very few people coming in, so I had a lot of downtime. While my supervisor was happy to let me do that, one of my coworkers, who I'll call C, didn't like this. She was of the opinion that ADA accommodations were privileges, not rights, and would frequently complain to my supervisor and anyone that would listen. It got to the point where my supervisor, Sam, who worked as his sister side across town, and her supervisor, Elliot, who worked where I did, would come in and watch me. We both discovered that not only did I put my work down when I needed to do something, I also discovered I could carry on a conversation even when I was working on something that required me to keep an accurate count. But C, we'll call her Karen. Karen wasn't willing to leave it alone. Things finally came to a head when I was ironically sewing patches onto a pair of vests for a project at aforementioned sister site. Apparently, Karen had spoken to the company's lawyer about my accommodation, and to prove that my accommodation was interfering with my work, she and her assistant, D, we'll call her D, came down for lunch. When they came downstairs, they approached my desk, which was unusual because they didn't like me, and D pretended to admire them, then pocket a book we had for sale on the upper part of my desk in front of me. I was looking over the top of my work as I was pulling the thread and jerked my head up and asked them what they were doing, which caused them to giggle as if they caught me and ammunition get me fired. I notified Elliot, who, among other hats they were the HR head, and they and their supervisor, Kay, confronted Karen and gave her a final warning as continued harassment, apparently unbeknownst to me. Karen would stand in the hall if I wasn't moving enough to listen for the click of my heels. I'd gotten written up for it. On Monday after the final warning was a holiday. Per company policy, there had to be at least one upper middle upper level staff and one lower level staff on site if we were open. This time, C and I were supposed to be on shift because we worked two different areas. I was unaware C didn't show up until Elliot came in. Didn't unaware Karen didn't show up until Elliot came in to pick something up. They forgot to grab, even though they didn't have any official duties, and Karen wasn't in the building. The next day, Karen was fired. I was on duty that day, and I remember Karen wailing at the unfairness of her firing in the stairwell on the way to her car. Sounds like Karen's a jerk and got what she deserved. She had the day she deserved. Fired for not showing up to work. Can you imagine not showing up to work and then crying that you got fired after you've already been written up twice? You gotta be kidding me. The first comment is from Cuddles and is entitled and it says, so free and easy, mind your own business. Sounds like she really needs a hobby, perhaps something with yard. And Drummond Watch answers, what you said is the absolute truth. It cost her nothing to mind her own business, nothing. She got stuck on stupid and lost her job. She's probably not reformed, though, and is either a pain at her new employees or has decided if you can't beat them, join them. Either way, it's an icky person. Second top rated comment is from Sophisticated Crow. And it says, how petty does someone need to be to complain about something that has no impact on oneself and no impact on getting the job done? Absurd. Drama alum is like that. Definitely need to get fired. Hopefully they'll get fired enough times to learn the lesson. LP says, I heard Karen's husband convinced her to retire instead of finding a new job. Somebody answers that. Oh God, he's got to be going to be around her all the time. Poor guy. Expensive dollar store says, I had a tanning salon back in the day. There was only so much cleaning a person could do, and it could get boring. So I allowed the girls to read, study, knit, or even watch movies as long as customers were taken care of and the work was done. And I never had a single complaint from customers that they had been ignored or otherwise inconvenienced by it. But if you were sure they had caught the girls and informed on them. Most of the staff was grateful and complied and realized the gift I was giving them. One claimed she owed her good grades to this as she lived in a house full of good friends who were great distraction. I had great employee retention. There were a couple who had ridiculous expectations who thought I was abusing them somehow. They both discovered otherwise. Vegetable said, I appreciate bosses and managers like you. At the restaurant I work at, we hire college students to host and run food. In their free time, they are allowed to work on schoolwork or their hobbies. One girl frequently journals. It's already so hard starting out and surviving in this world. We should strive to make each other's time easier versus harder than what it already is. Yeah, I had a couple coworkers actually, at my last job that were going to school. So one of them full time. They were going to school and working a full 8 hour, 40 a week job, 8 hour a day, 40 a week job. I would cover for them so they could study or take tests online or whatever they needed to do. I didn't have a problem with it. They're trying to better themselves. I think that's great. I think that's what we should do in life. They say murdered by words and his entitled Don't Bother Calling the Authorities, Let Him Burn. Bryn Hollyhand says, from where I'm standing, a 12-year-old girl can travel for 2 hours, claiming they were going to school instead of getting an abortion where a baby is viciously murdered. No, that's not what happens. This is what the left wants. We can't be quiet. We need to boldly speak out against abortion. Steve Hoster said, I really didn't listen past the part where he glossed over someone raping a 12-year-old. 100%. 12-year-old didn't just get herself pregnant. She got raped. Because 99.9% of the time, it's a much older guy that got her pregnant. Got her pregnant in the first place. Men should watch where their sperm go, to be honest. Women don't get pregnant on their own. Takes a man for that. Women can have sex all day long, 24/7, and never come up pregnant until a man ejaculates. Ejaculation awareness is a thing. You guys should be aware. Justin R8 says, difficult to coexist in a world with someone that stands that, yeah, the 12-year-old giving birth is clearly the best option here. Lava Jack answers, Fox News just lamenting the fertility rate of 15-year-olds declining. They don't make it a secret. 15-year-olds should not be having babies, much less 12-year-olds. They're 15. They need to be out having fun, not parenting. Oaken Leaf answers, yeah, I just showed a Big Mag, a coworker in my office, Fox video. They complain about kids 15 to 18 not getting pregnant anymore. Her response is, yeah, they're right. People don't want kids anymore. That's a problem in America. No, kids don't want kids anymore. Kids don't want kids anymore. You shouldn't have a kid until you're at least 25. Shouldn't be married until you're at least 25. Probably 30 would be good, actually, if you want to know the truth about it. Pano says he's wrong. That's not what we want. We want to be closer than 2 hours to cover universal health care. Covered by universal health care, make her feel emboldened to report her rapist so he can be put in prison rather than potentially made president. Exactly. I was saying Burns says this, if a child in this position, I want them to have the easiest, comfiest, most supportive free abortion that ever existed. I want that child to have a dedicated advocate. I want that child to have everything that child can possibly exist to minimize the harms that have been done to them and give them some of their childhood back. And then all steps taken to prevent this from happening again. 100%. That love says, I'm genuinely shocked we're at the point where this is an extremist take. At a moment where it's not the extremist take, that's a normal take. If you ask a normal person, that's how they'll answer. If you ask an extremist religious person, those are the people that have the problems with it. At a moment where I wondered if the original tweet was pro-choice because some states are threatening the death penalty scenarios and the 12-year-old is just a baby. I mean, they can't even buy a PG-13 ticket by themselves. How winged in the heads does one have to be to accept a literal child to carry to term? If I ever raise a daughter in the U.S., I won't. She's getting a machete and some piano wire and/or a straight razor to address any unauthorized creeps tweaking berries. They'll make her think that she's complying, though, that she's complicit, though. They make these girls think that they're consenting when they can't. They cannot consent. Ridiculous is their temporary comment, and they say, it's always, this is what the left wants, and it's never true. In order to distract from this is what the bride is actually doing right now. Exactly. Exactly. This is from John from South Dakota about Badlands National Park. Pristine nature messed up only by us and other visitors. The $25 entry fee is worth it. Natural wonders, beautiful landscapes. Some wildlife always never did see those promised bighorn sheep. Well, they're not really promised. They're a possibility, not a promise. Plenty of places to hike or pull over to look over the terrain. The loop road is a little confusing since it isn't all the same highway number. That's a minor comment. We need to preserve. This is why we need to preserve our national parks. Why do you have this 1-star review then, sir? Why is it 1 star? Shouldn't it be like at least 4 if it's worth it? And we need to preserve it? What do you think that money's for? The money is for preservation. Next, we have Traumatized and Back. It is entitled TV host tries to humiliate an actress. So in my country, there's this TV host that a lot of people dislike because of how many sexist comments he makes and the way he interrupts people he interviews. Why is he still in business? Why are you watching him? Stop watching him. Stop watching him and he'll lose his job. Personally, even if you watch him, they might lose their job. Sorry, Steven. Love you. Personally, I don't like him, but whatever. That's not what this is about. Think of him as kind of a male Ellen DeGeneres TV host. But Ellen DeGeneres was nice to the people she hosted. So one day he's interviewing Sofia Vergara. For those who don't know, she lives in the United States and she's Colombian. And although she usually performs in English, that's her second language, so she has a strong accent. She came to this show to talk about her new show, TV show. And 1 minute she was talking about previous role she had in another show. So what this TV host decided to do, make fun of her accent, of course. Why would you do that? I acted as Gloria Pritchard, character in Modern Family. Host. How do you say that in English? Then proceeds to name of the show, mocking her accent. How do I say TV host? I mean, because English you say, oh, you mean that my English is bad? TV host. No, no, I mean, Sophia, oh, you mean that you speak better English than I do, TV show host? Yeah. Yes. Sophia, oh. Just for context, his English is garbage, absolute garbage. He mocked her accent and then also her career with other comments she made previously, so she decided to set him straight. Yeah. Sophia, I'm sorry, but how many Emmy nominations do you have? How many times were you nominated for the Golden Globes? How many times were you nominated for the SAG Awards? Good for her. Good for her. She's funny. She's a funny girl. The audience laughed and fully supported her. Honestly, good for her. He's made fun of so many people has interviewed. So it was nice to see her being confident. Edit. After rereading, I thought that making the actress anonymous sounded a bit dumb. So yes, it was Sofia Vergara. Good for Sophia. Good for you, Sophia. Let's go. Put that guy. Yeah, how many awards has he won? Nobody likes him, so probably not. Didn't want to sleep anyway. This is why I love Gloria's monologue in Modern Family. Do you even know how smart I am in Spanish? Those people can't even speak Spanish, and she speaks 2 languages on that show. Even on the show, she spoke 2 languages. And taking in my shoes was brilliant wordplay. Thank you very much. Sofia Vergara's English is fantastic. It is. Her accent is very strong, though. Her accent's very strong, and if you're not used to it, you might not be able to understand what she says. But if you get used to someone's accent, you can understand them very well. As a matter of fact, it's like my handwriting. My handwriting is not bad. It looks bad at first glance, but it's not. It's a style, and you can get used to it. People do. People have. Her accent is beautiful, and she enunciates well enough that I can easily understand her, even though I feel like my auditory processing is garbage and I have to ask American-born speakers to repeat themselves all the time. And that is her second language. Panorastic answers agree. I think it's important to recognize that having a thick accent is not the same as being bad at that language. You can be perfectly fluent and have a larger vocabulary and better grammar than the average native speaker, and still have its thick accent. And the truth is that every native speaker also has an accent, one that just happens to be more local accent. Exactly. And then there are people who, First Lady, that have been here for eons and still can't speak in a fluently in English. And that's not an accent. That's her using words wrongly. Stubborn Kanye says she should have pushed him to interview her in English. OP says, I would love to see that. The blonde says, is the third top rated comment. He tried to diss Gloria, man's a fool. Next we have What Should I Do? And is entitled Ex-Husband Messaging After 4 Years of No Contact. Honestly, I've been married to my current husband for 7 years, been together for about 10. My ex-husband sent me his Facebook message at 4 a.m. I have no clue what he's talking about. Felony charges? I should report this or just since I blocked him. Definitely not on my bingo card today. Update, I blocked him and reported him to Facebook. They didn't do anything, of course not. Facebook never does. Facebook doesn't even protect vulnerable people. They would rather MAGA just run the world. I messaged our sheriff for Oblivion Small Town and he started a file. Thanks for other recommendations. It's just the one. This is something about not paying for that. April 5th, 2022 at 12:49 a.m. Hope you have a good one then. The sun shall rise again. You can stay in that hole I left you in. Good luck. The very same hole you tried to bury me in is one you sleep in. That's not a threat, that's a promise. You're honestly located and press chart. The felony charges against you. I could have a seat. I can see through you. Honestly, this sounds like he's drunk texting somebody else. It sounds like he's drunk texting somebody else. Oblivious jellyfish says drunk ramblings don't respond, just move on. This little dog answers, yep, this is exactly what I thought too. Sounds like something that he thought would be a sick burn. It sounded so deep and poetic when he was wasted. And probably looked up the next day and was embarrassed. I wouldn't block just on the off chance he's having a background and it escalates, but I definitely wouldn't say anything. Not replying is a reply that will eat him the most in this situation anyway. Next top rated comment is from Not Gay Sonic. It says block him and move on. Don't entertain it. If it persists, seek legal help. She says that she did block him. Jill said, I would say drunk messaging. He's been pissed at someone, projected it all on you. Just document this in case. Old explanation says seems methy to me. No position says exactly this. This is meth 100%. I think he's texting the wrong person. Still wrong. There still should be a file on it because he is threatening someone. But I'm not convinced he's threatening her or thinks he's threatening her. I think he thinks he's threatening somebody else. Because of the way it started out. It sounded like he was continuing a conversation from someone else. So next we have malicious compliance in the end, and it is entitled, customers always are about the delivery address, even when he is wrong. I work as a courier for a local furniture and hardware supplier. Most of the time it's pretty chill, but occasionally you get that one customer who thinks being a jerk is personality trait. Last Thursday, I had a delivery for a guy who ordered a bunch of heavy outdoor decking material. The address on the invoice was for an old industrial park on the edge of town that is mostly abandoned warehouses and empty lots. I called him when I was about 10 minutes out just to confirm where exactly he wanted the pallet dropped because the GPS was pointing to a literally gated off gravel pit. The second he picked up, he started screaming. He told me that I am paid to drive and not to ask stupid questions and that the address is in the system that for a reason. I would put it in the most inconvenient spot possible. If you're going to treat me like this, it's going in the most inconvenient spot possible for you, sir. I tried to explain that it looks like a construction site or an old dump, but he cut me off and said he's a busy man and doesn't have time to hold my hand. He literally told me, and I quote, just put exactly what the paperwork says and stop bothering me or I will call your manager. I would call my manager and say, I'm putting this right where he said, right where it says to put it. That's what he said to do. Get ahead of it. Talk to your manager first. Get ahead of it. All right, I'm a man of my word, and I drove to the exact points on the shipping manifest. It was a rusted gate in front of a completely empty dirt lot with a sign that said private property, keep out. There was nobody there, no building in sight. I checked my paperwork again. The address was 100% correct according to the system. I unloaded the entire pallet of high-end cedar decking right there in the dirt, leaned it against the fence, and took a photo for a delivery confirmation. About 3 hours later, my boss calls me into the office. That's when you should have said, call the boss first. Tell them what's going on so they don't look like a fool. Apparently, the guy meant to put it his home address, which was on the other side of the city, but he used his old business. Idiot. Billing address by mistake. He was livid because when they finally drove out there to check, most of the wood had already been picked over by people driving by or was just sitting in the mud. He tried to claim I should have known it was a mistake. My boss just pulled up the recorded call where the guy told me to stop asking questions and put it. I had to pay for a whole new order because he signed off on delivery items. He didn't say a word when I saw him at the warehouse later to pick up the new stuff himself. This is why you listen to people when they're calling you and asking you questions about things you're having delivered. The Takumaj says perfect and good cedar ain't cheap. Doubt it'll change that jerk's attitude at all, though. Juicebox answers, and they quote, I saw him at the warehouse later pick up new stuff himself. 100% didn't change his attitude. That idiot intentionally picked it up himself because he doesn't trust the company or delivery drivers. Vampire quotes says, the idiot's just left it there in the dirt. He conveniently forgets to mention that you told him to do that. Exactly. Seven Umbrella says, this is the kind of MC you love to see. You did know it was a mistake, but he was being a jerk, so he had to eat the consequences. Perfect. Sailor Nama says this story fits well with instant karma. Okay. The third top rated comment is from Unasked for Advice. Glad you were able to see YA because that's the type to lie about and throw you under the bus. To for all, do companies record their employees' calls from a truck? Baked Wizard says probably a company. It doesn't matter. You should have called his boss anyway, even if it was recorded. Buildings. This is a Vanke Corporation in Shenzhen. I would say that looks pretty evil. Also cool, but evil. And Vanke makes me think of Vought from the Boys, which we are currently watching, of course. Unsalted says it looks sick. Comment Man says Vanke at night always gives the best shots. Next we have AITAH, and it's entitled AITAH for not giving my wife equal say in decision making abilities for my kids. Probably. My ex-husband cheated. Oh, sorry, I did that all wrong. I told you I was tired. AITAH, entitled AITAH for not giving my ex's wife equal say in decision making abilities for my kids. In that case, no. Those there are two parents, they're 50-50. Anybody else is zero. Zero. You always go through the parent, not the step parent. I learned this the hard way being the stepchild of the step parent who did not cooperate, who did not communicate with the parent at all. My ex-husband cheated and left me for his new wife. They have been officially together 2.5 years, married for less than a year. He waited for the divorce to finalize before going public with her because he didn't want our kids ages 9 and 7 to figure out he'd been cheating. 9-year-olds figured it out already. 9-year-olds are not dumb. 7-year-olds might have a couple more years before she figures it out. I don't know if it's a girl or a boy. I'm just saying she. There's very obvious source of conflict, but it's also a source of double conflict. Of course, I can't stand either of them. Him for cheating and her for knowing he was married with a family. She can't stand me because she believes I should have helped them lie to the kids so they could be openly together sooner. No, ma'am, you're the side piece. You don't get that privilege. The reason she thinks that is because the ex and I had a rocky marriage before I found out he cheated. He said that's why he went there with her, but I don't believe him for a second. We had been going to marriage counseling to work on our issues. In reality, he was cheating and wanted to leave me while saying in counseling he wanted to stay. What a jerk. He and I share physical and legal custody of the kids. All decisions for and about the kids must be made together. He can include his wife in part of the decision, but there's no ruling that I must include her equally, and I don't. Good for you. You shouldn't. She's not a parent. She's a step. These kids have two parents. It bothers her so much. Both kids do summer swimming lessons so they can keep up their strong swimming skills, which X and I have always felt is important because we have a lot of water around where we live. She wanted to change where they go for swimming lessons this summer. She brought it up to me and I told her no. She wanted me to hear her out, but I said no. She got X to bring it up, and I told him my answer was still no. He said I should have let her speak about it, and I told him that if they agree on something, he can bring it to me. Otherwise, no, I did not need to listen to her. Why would you even want to listen? Why would she think you would even want anything to do with her? She's a side piece. Another problem is she has is their extracurriculars. She feels that they should be doing a few different things to what they're currently doing. It's not up to her. This was again something she wanted the two of us to talk about, and I said no. She told me she should have an equal say in this kind of thing, and I told her no, absolutely not. I told her if she wants to say to speak to my ex and we can discuss it, but she doesn't get a say with me. She also wanted to switch her pediatrician because her friend's kids have a different one, and she felt it should be talked about and discussed because she gets to make decisions like this too. No, she doesn't. My answer was no, and even my ex's was, but he was mad, but I wouldn't let her have that say. The way I see it is to have a co-parent with him, even if he's a cheater. But I did not make babies with her, so I do not need to give her more consideration than she gave us when she became the other woman. It's all up to him if he wants to include her in his decisions and topics he wants to bring up with me. But I have made it clear that it will not at all be equal with me, and I made the kids with the accent, not her. AITAH. No, not at all. She should know her place. Bulbasaur Ranch says, "You're the other woman, not the other decision maker. Don't get confused with your role." Exactly. You owe this woman nothing, and she can talk trash to her boyfriend about whatever she wants. She doesn't get to pretend that you are equals here. NTA. Corley says, "If you want to play parent and have your own kids, I do not listen to side piece. You have my you may have my sloppy seconds, but not my kids." Next 1 million says, "And the position of mistress has an opening." Ice Seeker answers, "Once a cheater, always a cheater. She's going to replace sooner or later. Probably the reason she's desperate to involve herself. She wants to be seen different and valuable now, becoming coming from being the mistress." Shimmy Dammy says, "It's time for a parenting app that logs all communication." Yes, it is. They have those. I can't remember the name of it offhand right now at the moment, but those do exist. And you can get waivers if you can't afford them. It's like it's not super expensive, like $900 for the year or something like that. I don't know for sure. Don't hold me on that. Rachel Mig says, "You, as a divorce lawyer, 100% this. If there's any conflict in your co-parenting relationship, you should be using the app." Linda Biz says, "Honest question, why? I'm in Canada and I paid over several $100s for an app called Our Family Wizard. It was court ordered." I guess it's more than $99 a year. It is Our Family Wizard is one of them. Max continues to harass me on it. They insult me, threaten me. In my experience, the app is not monitored any more closely than they're texting. It's not for monitoring. It's for you going to court and showing people. It's not stop my ex from using me. I'm paying for a service, but I'm not sure the service is why is the app beneficial. Rachel answers back, the apps are generally not monitored by the court, though Our Family Wizard can be monitored by attorneys and guardian ad litems if they are given access. The point of the app is that they are tamper-proof, and you can't go in and delete or unsend messages the way you can with text or use the AI to make fake messages because it's all stored on the server. If your ex is violating court order, it's still on you to take the messages to the court and file for contempt. The apps just make it so when you do, the authenticity of messages can't be questioned. Our Family Wizard costs money, but it has a bunch of different services you can use, such as doing video calls through it. If they're using the texting function, I suggest asking the court if you can switch to Talking Parents, which is the texting function and is free. Linda thanked her for the information. Yeah, it's not for monitoring. It's for proof of what's going on, proof of activity. Friendly Mom says NTA, and you're 100% right. If he keeps pushing this agenda, it would be worth you chatting to a local lawyer just to confirm it. Their marriage doesn't give her rights to your kids. P.S. From another perspective, it seems like he's pushing parental decision making onto her, so he either doesn't have to make parenting decisions or deal with you directly as the other parent. Both his scope of parental responsibility. Exactly. This guy's a bad parent. Through and through. Next, we have Neighbor Smell entitled Neighbor Keeps Reporting Our Fully Legal Home Business Over 10-minute Wood Deliveries. My husband and I run a small business building greenhouses. It is their full-time livelihood is very low impact. No customers coming to our house, no employees, no chaos. We pre-cut some materials like 2x4s in our garage and do all the actual builds on site on our clients' homes. We load everything into our enclosed trailer. We are fully compliant with all county and state requirements, including taxes. The town has already investigated us and confirmed that everything we're doing is allowed. Occasionally, we get small materials deliveries. That's it. Last year, one of our neighbors reported us for running a business out of our home and for having deliveries. The town checked and said we're fine. Now it's happened again. This time, the complaint was literally had wood delivery. 50 2x4s on a small flatbed truck. The truck pulled up, beeped maybe twice while backing up, drove the materials and left. The entire thing took less than 10 minutes. No obstruction, no ongoing noise, nothing disruptive. The town actually drove right by after the complaint and saw the delivery load and told us this is the exact kind of delivery they themselves would have sent to their own homes. In other words, completely normal. While they didn't officially name the person, they repeatedly referred to the complainant as she reported again. And based on that, our street layout, we can pretty much confidently narrow it down to one specific neighbor. What makes this even more confusing is she doesn't have direct view of our house from where she usually is on her front. Her front patio is on the corner of the cul-de-sac. She started a new remote job after 14 months of unemployment the same day. It was outside on her laptop where she always is. The only disturbance here would have been two quick backup beeps from a truck that was gone in 10 minutes. So the timing feels odd. And this is someone we've gone out of our way to help over the years. Helped unload the entire semi of decking. Brought her food when she had COVID. Helped her look after for her missing dog, which wasn't actually missing. Made and posted flyers for her lost cat. Helped lift in an 800-pound fountain piece. Let her dump pea gravel in her driveway. Took a perfectly good fridge off her hands so she didn't have to pay for disposal of it. Been friendly and had drinks with her, gave her eggs, etc. She's genuinely good neighbors. Meanwhile, if you have eggs and 800-piece fountain pieces around, this is not like a subdivision neighborhood. Anyway, this is a little more rural than that. So we've been genuinely good neighbors. Meanwhile, she's apparently repeatedly reported us over completely illegal, already approved activity, and now over something lasted less than 10 minutes was confirmed by the town to be perfectly normal. At this point, I'm less angry and more just baffled. Has anyone dealt with a neighbor like this? Do you ignore it since the town has already cleared everything, or is there a better way to handle someone who keeps making complaints over non-issues? Marino says, so ask her to her face if it's her. Wait for the answer. If she says no, insist you in working out who it is. If she says yes, repeat the list you have and ask why she's so petty and mean. Then stop helping her. Easy peasy. Jupiter. Not Jupiter, Jupiter. Jupiter, like dinosaur. Jupiter, like dinosaur. If she says yes, or even if she says no, explain that you are following all the rules and list them. Explain that the authorities have visited, confirmed you are doing everything right. Phrases, yes, you can run a business from your house if you do it properly. My theory is that she believes her calls to the authorities have stopped you from getting deliveries for a period of time. Then you do it again and she calls again and there are no more deliveries for a while. She thinks she's catching you and doing something wrong and stopping, if only temporarily. It's possible. My eyes are not working today. It's possible this could be worked out. It's possible this could be worked out and you may not need to preemptively destroy an otherwise satisfactory relationship. Of course, Reddit would rather you burn the house down than come to a mutually satisfactory agreement. I don't think that's true. All the top comments are always helpful. Almost always. I won't say always. Almost always. She hates herself and therefore needs to make others miserable. Exactly. She's bad because she was out of work for so long. Next, we have benign existence and is entitled My Cat Has Invented Religion. I have a smart home and I take pride in this. I love gadgets, so wiring up at my house to be smart was a nice little project. I have a good morning routine on my Google Nest Hub. I use it as an alarm clock sitting beside my bedside table. Every morning it starts with sunrise light that gets brighter and brighter 15 minutes before my alarm goes off. Then the alarm sounds or I wake up from the light and give the command. The lights turn on, my curtains are opened, and the coffee machine starts brewing. Then I get up and feed the cat. Must be nice to be able to afford all that. Holy cow. That sounds lovely. Cat is now certain that the Google Hub is magical God. Every morning he wakes me up at 5:38, not to feed him. Oh no, to anxiously watch the Google God sunrise with him. It's like a little morning prayer. We have pleased the Google God. Will it say its greeting? Will it open the curtains and force me to feed him? Or have we displeased Google God? For example, on a weekend where the sunrise does not happen until 5:45, as it usually does, yes, my cat will very much tell tell time, although the days of the week continue to baffle him. I'm sure he gets the gospel of Google God to all the passing cats like a little street preacher. Repent, cat brothers. You must now bow to Google God. I guess he has a point though. When Skynet takes over, remember this is the first prophet. All hail Google God. Yeah, that sounds like normal animal behavior to me. Next to I found Satan is entitled Found Him. Soren Pert says, I'm going to start a false crime podcast where I explain crimes that never actually happened. Dunmertity says, I'm going to do the crimes you explain, forcing you to have a true crime podcast. Angelica Babes, Satan is in the comments taking notes on how to automate his workflow. Priest says, okay, ideas department, you're fired. Daddy's found a better way to get ideas. Satan probably, I don't know. Nature Field says this is a legally binding contract. Second top rated comment is from the zombie. First guy. And then he let the stallion ass wing him. Second guy, crap. Pizza Hole says, I'm going to be the movie mogul that makes billions of dollars and all your crap together. I know already report to fulfilled prophecies. Next we have Just No Mel. My Mel wants to give my daughter the name of her deceased granddaughter. That's gross. Don't do that, mother-in-law. That's not proper behavior. I need honest opinions because I'm really conflicted right now. I recently gave birth to a baby girl after a very difficult experience. I was in labor for 20 hours and ended up with an emergency C-section on April 1st. I'm still recovering, and to make things harder, I haven't even been able to see or hold my baby yet. Before she was born, my boyfriend and I had a clear agreement. If we had a girl, her first name would be Marie Liddy, a compound name, tribute to my mother. He agreed to this in the beginning. In exchange, she was supposed to choose a second name. During the pregnancy, he mentioned names he liked, Thames or Kalani, but nothing was ever finalized. For context, we lived together. His mother came by to stay with us for 6 months for the birth. 6 months. While I was in labor, mother said, saying that the baby wasn't coming. She said she didn't like the name Marie Liddy. After the birth, I found out both my boyfriend started and his mother started calling it Maya Liddy. Maya is not just a random choice. It's the name my boyfriend chose for the past. For the baby he lost in previous relationship. Absolutely not. No. 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 Mm-mm. Do not. Now he says it feels like an obvious sign that our baby strangely resembles that child. I told him to choosing a second name we agreed on that I did not want it to be Maya. To me, it's too connected to his past. Also, what his mother said during my labor honestly hurt me. The problem is that his mother's already calling our daughter Maya Liddy, like it's decided, and my boyfriend doesn't seem to be stopping her. You have a boyfriend problem, ma'am. You should have got married first and moved away from Mama. Mama has no say in the naming of your children. Just like I had no say in the naming of my son's child, even though I reminded him that the name he was choosing has already been used by someone in the family. He did it anyway. It's fine. It's fine. They just have to know what BW we're talking about. Problem is that his mother already called. I feel disrespected and pushed aside, especially after everything I went through physically and emotionally. Am I wrong for refusing to name Maya and wanting our agreement, Marie Liddy, as her first name, a different second name to be respected? No, it's crazy. It's in MJ Overjump says, I'm sorry for your boyfriend's loss, but your newborn is not a resurrection of his deceased child. You need to make it abundantly clear. She's not an omen. She's not a divine symbol. She's a newborn, a person of her own. This is not a chance for your boyfriend to open doors from the past. It's not a chance for your mother-in-law to lock them behind him. Neither of them are open to embracing new beginnings, amenable, or treating this child like the individual brand new, not born anew. Then you need to think long and hard about their mentalities and will affect the next 18 years of your child's life. Think long and hard about how their ignorance towards your feelings and boundaries and birth experience will continue to compound permanent grudges. They are a tag team, shouting over your speaking voice during emotionally and physically vulnerable, taxing time. He was deceivingly agreeable until one, he had to reinforcement in front of another while you were too vulnerable and tired. This partnership is not equal if your boyfriend is receiving ammunition from his mother. This pattern will likely repeat and is already showing this early into parenthood. Curly Kayak is the second type Reddit comment. They say, WTF. When it comes to baby names, the only people get a vote of the baby's parents, period. Mother-in-law doesn't factor into the process at all. Her opinion literally doesn't matter. Yeah, when I told my mother-in-law the name we picked out for my third one, she says, I'll get used to it. And she did. She knew she had no say in it. She was a smart lady. Kit Kat says mother-in-law has already had her turn naming babies. Now it's your turn. Maybe a gentle reminder if this is in order. Yes. Next we have Retail Howl, and it says it really wouldn't surprise me if this is real. Employees, a snack will be provided for you today at the food court in appreciation of your hard work. Today's snack, mayo. Available from 9 a.m. till 7 p.m. 11/27/20 only. It's old, but it's funny. Matt's Midwest Sushi. This is Matt's Midwest Sushi. Chicken franks and a honey and corn meal tempura, garnished with organic tomato reduction and mustard vinegar aioli. It's pigs in a blanket. It's pigs in a blanket with mustard and ketchup. Why do you put ketchup on it? I don't know. And he says, I'm living large in my store. That's from Weird Day. Blame tag says, I'm that guy. This is the original. It says, food will be provided for you for the appreciation. Today's snack, a banana. A banana. Better than mayo, I gotta say. Would be slightly better than mayo. Somebody answers somehow this is more disappointing than mayo. Somebody said they're allergic, so no snack for them. Blame tag said, fun story. Managers like to bless us with the leftovers from their lunches when the higher ups come in. Usually a bowl of warm fruit salad and whatever condiments came with their sandwiches. Usually just mustard mayo packets, but sometimes little portions of banana peppers, and one time a tub of horseradish sauce. Next we have petty revenge, and it is entitled, I say 5 years of discarded dog bones and return them to my neighbor. Occasionally while cutting grass I would find small chunks of bone scattered about my backyard, maybe once every other month, the kind someone would give to their dog to gnaw. My yard is fenced in and all my neighbors says only one big enough for dogs of that kind. So I had my suspicions about who was responsible, but I never knew for sure. It was a mild inconvenience, and I always just picked them up and tossed them inside this little storage container. Over the years, I accrued quite a collection of them. One day, I came home from work early afternoon. I was pulling into my driveway. I saw something get lobbed over the shared fence with my neighbor. I always suspected, older guy. I think he was cutting grass. I'm guessing he didn't want to run over it with his mower instead of acting like a human and disposing of it properly. He throws it in my backyard because he's a piece of crap. Yeah, he is. Not wrong on that. Now I pride myself with being a reasonable person, but I can be a petty and vindictive little a-hole. Under the right circumstances, I could call him out on it. He might stop, but he also might do it just to be a prick. So I decided just to return his bones. If he wanted a conversation about it afterwards, we could absolutely do that. Fast forward to sundown. I go outside and I proceed to throw probably 100 bone chunks over the fence in the course of half an hour. It was something deeply satisfying about it, cathartic even. A week or so later, we see each other. We're both leaving our homes. I'd only laid eyes on the guy 2 or 3 times in the 5 years I lived there, night shift hours. I would characterize his facial expression as being severely disgruntled. I couldn't stop smiling. He didn't say a word about it. How could he? He'd have to knowing what he'd been doing for years. I haven't had to see a bone since. That's how you do it. That's how you get somebody to stop doing what they're doing. Patience. Patience is a virtue for a reason. Patience until you know for sure who the culprit is. And then you give them their stuff back. Have a great day says, when we bought our house in 2016, my now ex-boss and I were both smokers. The neighbors came by, were very friendly, and I was truly impressed by how subtly they worked into the conversation that they kept all the previous owners' cigarette butts that landed in their yard for a month and then dumped them on the front steps. It took me a minute to realize it was polite warning. Opie says, yeah, yeah, they were firing a warning shot across your bow. They wanted that behavior to stop, and I don't blame them. I'd be PO'd, man. She answers, oh, for sure, they were good people, though, and I did my best to be as well. If they came outside, I'd put it out because gross, nobody wants to smell that. And eventually just quit altogether. Good for you. Good for you. Second topic comment is from somebody with all consonants in their username. And he says, I'm glad they were bones for dogs, not bones from dogs. Kate Dizzle says, so satisfying. Next, we have Emma the Jerk, and it's entitled, Boyfriend Wants to Move In to Pay Off Debt. I'll try to make it short. Been together 4 years. He's always financially struggling despite having 250,000 sitting in crypto that he won't touch. Bull run. We have great chemistry, but I have way more than him financially. This is just stupid. Stupidity. He's always crying about debt and not having enough money and wanting to change for his life. But his only change that he has done is work extra hours at work while I'm doing multiple things to gain income, not including my job. When I met him, he was $25,000 in debt, and now he's $50,000 in debt. But he could pay that off with his 250 sitting in crypto. So not really in debt, just choosing to be in debt so he can save his little crypto cash. He says he wants me to move in with him and help pay down his debt. No, your debt is not my problem. He says he wants to pay it all off in a year, and when I ask him what his game plan is, it's for me moving to save him money and me renting out my 3 homes on Airbnb. He has a son, and most recently, when I've gone over to his house, it's messy and cluttered. He says it's because he's so busy working and has no help. I have a son too, but I have the feeling this is going to greatly benefit him, as he'll have live in help to cook and clean while he's paying his debt. Yeah, he just wants a maid. He makes 5K more than me yearly and says when I move in, we'll live off one income. And I'm like, when you're barely making yours on your own, and live very comfortable because I live below my means. And before before I realized he was in so much debt, there were Amazon packages and purchases made just because they were on sale, and it was something he absolutely had to have. I'm 41 female, he's 36 male. I want to break up at this point because all I see for my future is helping him struggle. And no real benefit here for the long run. What do you guys think? Yep. Dumb him. Samurai says, NTJ sounds like a budding homosexual. He is full enough to keep paying debts when he can cash out on some of his crypto. That's not a you problem, that's a him problem. He seems financially illiterate, which is not a good in a life partner. Agreed. He's financially illiterate. Since he doesn't say anything about what would be good for you, only for him. Plus, he has a kid in tow. You can do better. Yeah. Comfortable excuse as dude has $250,000 sitting in crypto, but wants you to move in, basically finance his lifeline. That's wild. Crypto bro logic is something else. Can't touch the magic internet money. The magic internet money. Well, I'll gladly let his debt double in 4 years. Now he wants you to rent out your properties to fix his mess while also being a live-in maid for him and his kid. You already know this is going to look like you'll be doing all the domestic work while he works extra hours, and somehow the debt will still be there because next year, because crypto. Puppets is the second top-rated comment, and they say, "Oh, come on, he wants you to move in and pay all the bills and do all the housework and probably care for his son. He thinks he hit the lottery. Don't do it." Captain Snapperchin is the third-rated comment. He says he's lying about having a bunch of money in crypto or anywhere else for that matter. Dump him. Future Ear says, "I've heard someone describe crypto as imaginary money. Pretty much sums it up for me. In this case, it's imaginary money in his head, just so you know." 100%. This guy is not worth the trouble he's causing already. Much less after you move in and become his bang maid. Signs of the story, entitled First Blood. And we've seen this one before. It's the old Tools one. Where Dave Mazik had the first accident with the saw. Next, we have expectation versus reality. That one might pop up every so often, I'm afraid. And we're just going to skip it every time now because we already saw it. Next, we have expectation versus reality, entitled Walmart Cupcake Bouquet. This is the expectation. That is awfully cute. I love the butterflies. Nice flowers. Nice looking flowers. Cupcake reminded me. Remember our custom cake. I think it's supposed to be cupcakes. Oh, that looks perfect. That's excellent work, Walmart. This is a Walmart product, guys. Walmart has some really good cake decorators, not gonna lie. Even added edible sprinkle dust. I don't think you can beat this for $20. That was $20. Helen says, hella impressive. Now it's going to cost you more than $40 at a bakery, dude. Denise Scholar says, it's the second top rate comment. I got a Walmart cupcake flower bouquet. It was gorgeous. I never would have guessed it was from Walmart. I thought it was from some fancy expensive bakery. Catarelli is how is this a cupcake? Denise answers, the frosting makes the flower shape. Unless ad says, yes, the larger flowers the cupcake, the smaller ones decorate or icing, so there's no gaps. Monkey Donut Leaks is the third top rate comment, and they say, Walmart sucks as a corporation, but their bakery folks are talented. My ex-husband and I were just talking about wedding cake last month. We were poor as heck when we got married. At the time, we could get a tiered cake at Walmart for $100 compared to the $350 quote from others for comparison. The expectations were low, but it was absolutely beautiful. Smooth icing, crisp white color, and adorable flowers all over. Sorry. Allergy attack. Have the windows open. Can you hear the birds? We're literally right outside the window. 10 recommend. And LP answers, I know they do suck in most ways. I didn't know until this week in their bakery was one of the redeeming quality. It's freaking awesome. I would have been so proud saving money on a quality wedding cake. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. I try to go live at least 4 times a week. But after this week, it will only be 3 this summer. Usually about noon Eastern time. Tomorrow will be 11:30. Because 11:30, because I do groceries after. And if it goes to 4, I'm going to be in real trouble because we're going to be eating out. My husband doesn't know that. We ate out all weekend. No, we didn't. Monday, I cooked both meals. Sunday, we ate out both meals. One was fast food. One was really good. Was not the fast food. Fast food wasn't bad, but it wasn't not really good. If you have a story of your own or come across a good one in the wild, please send us an email entitled submission. If you would like an email link to the day's current live, send an email entitled subscribe. The email is biddybrunchbunch, all one word, at gmail.com. The email address is also in the description. Tell everyone you know, please. Next, we have our real estate, and it is from Indianapolis, Indiana, and is entitled, You Just Never Know What You're Going to Find When You Open the app in Indianapolis, Indiana. It's a tiny home. It's a little bigger than most. It's 1 bedroom, 1 bath. 1,014 square feet. $215,000. That's a lot for tiny little home. I kind of want to do that one if I am ever widowed. I want a house like this, almost Alice. Almost Alice Windy. Indy. I don't know why it says that. Why does this have a sign? The steps are interesting with their diner checkerboard style. I don't know how you do this. Oh, this is going to be an Alice in Wonderland thing. I can tell by the carpet, by the welcome mat. It says we're all mad here. This is an Alice in Wonderland thing. Nice little house. Okay, can we go inside yet? There we go. Yeah, that looks like an Alice in Wonderland house all day long. Things would have to change for me. I do not want to live in Alice in Wonderland as nice as it is. Why are there legs outside, though? window. That's bizarro. That's weird. We just stare at Alice's painting all day. Is that what we do? Yeah, you're doing too much. Alice in Wonderland through the keyhole. Apparently, they're doing some kind of social media because that's one of those stupid ring things. I hate those. I hate how it makes people's eyes look online. I hate them so much. Down the rabbit hole at Almost Alice Indy. This looks like it's actually a business. Yeah, you know what to be doing, redoing these cabinets. It's cute, but not for me. Too much work to fix it back up to a house. Why is there a lawn on the ceiling? Why is there lawn on the ceiling? I kind of like the cards. I don't mind the cards. That was a weird angle. Why is there lawn on the walls? I don't like it. I thought looking at it from the living room, it looked like it was stars, which I would not mind. That's too much. It's too much. You're doing too much, Alice. Sorry, Alice. You're doing too much. All the clocks are cute. We just got 4 clocks yesterday. Not yesterday, Sunday. My sister-in-law gave them away all the clocks. She don't need them. She likes her cat clock, and that's all she wants. Cat clock is cute, by the way. I like this melting one. I want one of those. That looks cool. I'll put that on my bed. Tugly wood. I honestly thought that was going to be stars. Dark and stars. Black and stars. There are 61 pictures in this house. I do not like it, Sam. I am. Bedroom's Tugly wood. No, absolutely not. I'm not sleeping in there unless I'm a guest. I would sleep in it for a weekend. Every adventure requires a first step. Why did not we not see downstairs? Why are we outside? That did not look like it was going outside. Okay, it's too much. It's too much. Even the outside is too much. That's cute. I like that. Cute little bunny thing. These are clearly homemade. The keys are interesting, I guess. I prefer the keys from Harry Potter. Why are you wallpapering it with paper from the book? With pages from the book. I'm sure that's pages from Alice in Wonderland. Now somebody's got to rip that all off. Finally, we have the Eat Me teapot. I wonder if the Drink Me, Eat Me was going to come in. I would not pay $215,000 for this. Not in a million years. It's too much work to undo all this stuff. Maybe if you're buying it as a business, a tea party business would be good. See, there's half an Alice hanging from the ceiling. No, absolutely not. That's creepy looking. That is super creepy looking. I don't like it. No key. Make it go away. One day it is going to fall on the glass table and break it. Nope, nope, nope. Maybe if you were Gonna buy it as a tea house. An Alice in Wonderland themed tea house. Maybe. 1927. Great opportunity for investors or buyers looking for an affordable turnkey property. 1 bedroom, 1 bath. Includes a utility basement. Has seen major improvements with new mechanicals, updated kitchen, renovated bathroom. Fenced backyard. Desirable for tenants or owners alike. Currently styled in a unique Alice themed design, the seller is open to removing and or returning home to a clean, neutral finish prior to closing. Guess that would be required if I were to buy it, unless I was doing an open, like I said, unless I was opening a Alice themed tea party business, which could be cool. Mine's is microwave, refrigerator, dishwasher, range hood, but not the range, not the stove. They're taking the stove with them. Apparently, there's no washer dryer. Be nice for a little old lady with uh she's been there for almost 3 years. And wants $50,000 more, or almost 50, 45. Taxes, $2,500. Not that went up $52 in the last year. All right, Chime says now that is some top tier whimsy. Hit the break says actually done well if that's your thing. I've seen attempts on here and fails with this person followed through Wonderland and whimsy. I enjoyed the pictures, but that was enough. Exactly. Piss and Bliss says, imagine trying to clean this Airbnb between guests. Exhausting. Dust to put. OP says, dust on the plastic plant walls would drive me nuts. Tim Ronan says, we're all mad here. Server Life says, this made me cry at my cry mid-shift. Says, this woman was genuinely my guardian angel this morning. She tipped me extra in cash. I don't even know her name. I wish I got a chance to thank her. I was having a horrible day, and it genuinely made me feel hope. She tipped her $50 and then an extra 10. So she got tipped the same amount as what they does $120. Yeah, $120. It's nice. Hope she didn't have to share it. Sandusky says we love a 100% tip. Phil Craft says under New American Math, I believe that's a 600% tip. Shutrada says someone gave me $100 on a $50 bill once, and a big hug. Safe to say I had to hide it in the back and cry from gratitude. This is why we shouldn't tip people. Like their income should not be tips. They should have a general income, just like everybody else. And the tip should be extra. And yes, they should pay taxes on the tips. Probably more. I mean, if they're getting a genuine income, their tips should be taxed at the rate of what people have to pay for, like bonuses and stuff. It should be a bonus. This is from Confession. It is entitled "My Dad's Last Comfort." I think they mean comfort came alive after I told him. My dad died 8 months ago, and I haven't told anyone what I did in his hospital room. He had liver failure. Years of drinking caught up with me. caught up with him, and the last months were ugly, not movie ugly, just small, mean, and sad. Kind of where the room always smells too clean and the person in the bed keeps getting smaller, but somehow takes up the whole space. My parents have been divorced for years, not peaceful, not friendly, done. He had also managed to burn things with my aunt and one of my cousins over money and his drinking. By the end of this, it was just me showing up. Problem is, once he got worse, he started asking for them nonstop. Did your mom call? Is my sister still mad at me? Did she say she's coming? Or what about your cousin? Did they leave because of me? At first, I tried dodging it. I'd tell him to rest. Let him new people. Let him tell him people knew where he was. Tell him not to worry about that right now. But he knew, even half out of it, he knew. He kept looking at the door every time footsteps passed. My mom never came. My aunt said she had already buried him in her head years ago and wasn't doing this now. My cousin left me unread. One night when he asked me again if my mom called, I just said yes. She asked how you were doing. I said she told me to tell you to sleep and stop being stubborn. He smiled. After that, I kept doing it. He asked about my aunt. I told him she was too angry and sad to come, but that she loved him. Once he asked about my cousin, I said he had a lot of work, but was asking about him. Once my dad asked if he could talk to my mom himself, I told him she was at work and I would try again later. I hated myself the second I said it. One afternoon, I sat by his bed and read old texts from years back when people still spoke to him. I did not read them word for word. I changed them a bit to make them sound recent and make them softer. It calmed him down. This is the part I can't get past. He stopped staring at the door so much. He once cried and told me to tell them he knew he made a mess of things. 2 days later, he was gone. I still do not know what that makes me. Either way, he died believing he was not completely abandoned. Nobody in my family knows his final comfort was built on my life. So that's okay. You need to do what you need to do for you. And if it comforted him, that's fine. Illustrious living is the first top rate comment. Glad he had you there in the end. And hope he says, yeah, me too, for all the damage he does. I'm so grateful I didn't have to die alone and scared. Chaos Coordinator says, I think you did the right thing. You did give him comfort and peace at the end, which is what he needed. I would have done the same thing if you couldn't convince your family to show up. Jamola Colas is third type rate comment, and they say it's the kind of thing to do. I kind of want to know what he did after that was so bad that they wouldn't even see him on his deathbed. OP says nothing dramatic, one clean sentence, years of drinking, lying, money, crap, broken promises, and turning every attempt to help him to another mess. By the end, I think they were not refusing one last visit so much as admitting they had run out of whatever they had left for him long ago. They did attend the funeral, though. Which the funeral is not for the deceased, it's for the living, for the people that were left behind. Okay. This is interesting AF and is entitled, Employee Sets Fire to Kimberly Clark Warehouse. All you had to do was pay us enough to live. Wow. This is a big fire. I had no idea. I had no idea this happened. And he's not wrong. All they had to do. I guess my sound was off on my text. On my. I'm sure it sounds off. Yeah. I did not mean to do that. I'll make sure everything is correct now. All right, now we got it. Now we're cooking. Like, if you don't know what Kimberly Clark is, then make your toilet paper.
Should have paid us enough to fucking live. You know, we may not get paid enough to fucking live, but these bitches dirt cheap. All you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough to fucking live. All you had to do was pay us enough to live. There goes your inventory.
I get frustration, but that's not right either. Cross 71 says more payment means less stress. Less stress means you think about fire less. Exactly. Our CDRD says, what's the old quote? There's nothing more dangerous than a man with nothing to lose. Liz Monstia says, bingo, that's a lot of Americans right now. A wild jabroner says, the most dangerous thing to a stable society is long-term mothers, restless young men with little hope for a prospect for a better life. Best way to deal with surplus young men at home is to send them to a foreign war. Strange coincidence that instead of focusing on healthcare, education, affordable housing, etc., that the current administration is starting a completely unnecessary global conflicts and floating the idea of new drafts in it. 100%. Next is am I the a-hole, AITA, for asking a woman to stop being so weird about taking a caramel. Like, I like to have snacks in my office. I enjoy having something for people to take when they come in for a visit. Yes, exactly. I have a container of chocolate caramel tins open for anyone to take. The problem is when many of the other women in my office do this, they sing and dance. I shouldn't. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, I just love chocolate. So it's so naughty. It's annoying. I can see where that would be annoying. Stuff like this just annoys the crap out of me. Take a candy or don't, but don't force me to participate in whatever weird self-deprecating thing you're doing. Especially calling it naughty like you're scolding a child. I always just smile blankly, and they look at me like I'm supposed to give them permission. I finally had it yesterday when one of the women stood in my door and pointed like, "Ooh, I love those caramels. They're so good. But Ugh, I shouldn't. You're so bad for having these." I said, "Can you stop doing it? It's making me uncomfortable." She pretended to not know what I was talking about. I said, "Are you okay? You came in here, and you act like you need my permission to take a to eat a piece of candy. You keep calling it naughty like you're a little kid. It's super weird behavior. It makes me feel uncomfortable. So please stop." She's calmly and forcefully, but nicely, stating that she does not like your behavior, ma'am. She gave me a weird look and said she was just being silly, never mind. She left. I found out later that she said I ripped her head off and warned one of the other women who's always doing the "oh, I'm so bad" crap to avoid getting candy from me unless she wants to be scolded. No, you can have the candy. You can have all the candy you want. Just stop acting stupid about it. I'm not going to stop having candy out because there are some people who can do it without the whole song and dance. But am I really the a-hole for just asking her to stop doing that "oh, I'm so bad" crap? Edit, okay, I'm clearly the a-hole. I will take the caramels home with me today. I don't have to put up with this gross self-deprecating humor or anything anymore. I thought I was doing a nice thing, but with the drama, but I don't think it's fair they bring that to my office. So I'll just take them home. And so Flair is not the a-hole. Equivalent to one says NTA. I might suggest adding the candy is freely offered and morally neutral. Eating it does not make you a good or bad person. Edit, thank you for the awards. I got 9 awards. I don't know. Helpful. I think they're helpful awards. This playlist says I love this. You can make it into a little sign and everything. Retired from IT answers only good candies here. There are no naughty caramels. Exactly. It's silly. Lee says diet culture, internalized fat phobia, and fear of food. There is saying out loud they feel guilty for eating because that's what they've been learned to do. They want the thing, but they have to let other people know that they are being a bad person. I guess a way to smooth the guilt. Soothe the guilt. Are they older ladies? I try not to judge them too hard. I know it's annoying. Maybe just say you don't like talk like that around you because its mindset is damaging. Would you would prefer that they just took the candy, took them without commentary? Also, my old screen name says, "This is really kind response. I don't think OP was wrong to be blunt. It was a very good way of looking at what happened. At an old job of mine, my female coworkers, I'm a woman, would often make comments about my body, about me losing weight, etc. They meant it as a compliment because we've all been culturally accustomed to thinking weight loss is an inherently positive thing, but it's absolutely inappropriate, and I had to politely tell them I was not interested in body talk, not baby talk. Plus, Spirit says I worked in a grocery store right out of high school when I started. I'd just gotten off medication, so I was losing weight. One time, my 50-year-old woman manager complimented me by saying, "You've lost so much weight since you started here. Your face is so much slimmer now." And that absolutely did nothing but make me felt 100% more self-conscious, especially regarding how I looked when I weighed more. I never understood from any angle why she would think that and come across at very least backhanded. It's not like a compliment, unless I also think I looked bad before, and even then it was risky. Wasn't the only comment she made about my weight either. Stop talking about people and their weight. Not nice. Iron Ingrid says, this is their top rate comment. Or no, not. Their top rate comment is for Heart and Blunder. I mean, everyone sucks here. Yes, that super annoying blank stare was A-okay. That should have gotten the point across, but yeah, if it makes you feel so uncomfortable, you have to berate a coworker. Don't have the candies at your desk. Seriously, people that keep candy at their desk invite all interactions you don't seem to like heartage answers. I thought they're both heart related. Bro didn't berate anyone. She described her behavior to her and said it made her uncomfortable. There's the berating. And to add off gender. Next is from I Don't Work Here Lady, entitled Lady in Museum Tourist Shop Starts Snipping at Me Asking for a Drink. I was a tourist in another country, same language as home country. I had normal jeans and a t-shirt on, and I was wandering the tourist shop of a museum while girlfriend was buying something. Suddenly, random lady 5 feet from me starts snapping with her fingers. She says snipping, but she means snapping. He says, I should say he says, probably a guy, since he has a girlfriend. They say snipping when they mean snapping. I find it strange and ignore it, but she gets closer and starts snapping louder. I realize she was snapping at me. It's not snipping, it's snapping. Perplexed, I make eye contact, something like, where can I get a drink here? Could you bring me one? Tell her to stop snapping, that I'm not working here, and that even if I wouldn't help her for being a condescending bitch. She looked like someone had hit her and mumbled something about how rude I was. Tell her that's rich, coming from someone snapping at a perceived employee. Who in the world mistakes a random guy in normal random clothing for an employee who wants a drink to be brought to them in a tourist museum shop? I mean, I'm on his side, kind of. I wish he'd say snapping instead of snipping. Cynic son says, cash up front, you stay here. I'll be back in less than 3 hours. Yeah, I'd charge them like $50 for a drink. Lawson says, but now you wish you'd just turn it around and start snapping your fingers to her face. To me, that's one of the rudest things you can do. You're not a dog or any kind of other animal, though she's a bee. Everyone's turned the snipping to snapping. Third grade comment. Oh, that's so confusing because I have. Their top comment is from Leota's nephew. I always want to think of the scene from Two Broke Girls when somebody snaps her fingers trying to get service. The clip is not safe for work line, and we're not going to play it then. Overheard. Next is from Overheard, and it's entitled Virgin. Overheard her roommate on the phone. Dude, breathe just sex, you're going to be fine. Virginity is nothing to be ashamed of, regardless. I was 17 when I first had sex. I did what I saw in porn, spit on her pussy. pulled her arms back during doggy. It was bad, bro. Like, I never even asked her if she wanted you to do all that crap. Just make sure to communicate because porn can never teach you what your partner wants. Use protection. If she tells you condoms don't feel good, neither tell her neither does AIDS. Another thing, a part of that place where your penis goes is lower than you think. It's closer to the butthole. Don't aim for the butthole. That was your virginity vaginally. For the roommate, my roommate was kind of rude, but I shared as much as I could remember. Malicious Milkshake says virginity dude called the right guy. Yes. Chaotic Neutral Jesus says not all heroes wear capes. Next top rate comment is why not? Good advice, especially the consent condoms. And 100%. Trash Highway's the third top rate comment. And they say porn can never teach you what your parent wants. Clap, clap, clap. Say this louder. Yes. Bravest Blossom says the best thing I heard and tell my teen boys is that porn is to sex as action movies are to real life. Yeah, so it's a good way to put it. Next, I have True Off My Chest. This is entitled My Brother Tried to Pull a Fast One on His Wife, and she did it in reverse. I'm laughing watching him scramble. My brother fake named Dick and his wife Anna have been. We already read that one. We read that one. I'm skipping it because I'm tired and I don't feel like. We read that one somewhere or something. I don't know what it was. What do I do? Entitled, he responded. Hi, so I appreciate you telling me, but I still don't feel the same way. Can we still be friends, though? Also, to LYK, I don't STW. I don't know what he means by STW. Swing that way. Opie says, oh. Opie says, oh. I see. Collect underpants says you left out some rather significant. That's what this means. Mr. Matt says when asking for advice, your initial post, the context that you are both male and you didn't know his orientation would have been good information to share. Oh, geez. His forgiven daughter. At least he was nice about it. Will they go? Well, they won't. They says this is about as nice as you can get given circumstances. So apparently, a gay guy was hitting on a straight guy. He says, "I don't swing that way." That's fine. And OP didn't know what STW meant. Swing that way. Things you learn. Now we all know. If somebody tells you STW, they don't swing that way. Next, we have entitled parents and is entitled PSA. If you want your kid to away on play dates a lot, maybe teach them not to be a jerk. A single mom in our school relies on a lot of other families, including me, for free childcare via play dates and sleepovers because she has no family nearby and has a job that is extremely family unfriendly. I say childcare because most of these visits are requested either to provide her with a break or to have downtime to enable her to work. 100% situation with lots of sympathy. Where it gets hard is that the kid has been getting progressively harder to host. The 11-year-old does not ever want to do anything the other kids want to do, but will also not suggest alternatives, so it becomes everybody's problem to find activities that are tolerable to him. That's obnoxious. This kid is probably doing this because he's just not getting any attention at home, would be my guess. Mom's too busy, too tired, too whatever, too involved in herself. All kinds of possibilities. Additionally, the kid is generally poor behaved and considered as a guest, constantly spills drinks, and ignores requests to stay at the table while eating, wipes dirty hands on upholstery and walls, never brings plates to the sink, used tissues to tuck into the couch. The latest incident, the kid decided to have multiple storm out sessions and meltdown at her place. The meltdown culminated in them making up of being beaten and bullied by other kids during a play date to their mom. They pick up wildly exaggerated. Did you see that? Please diet. Not sticky. Additionally, widely exaggerated from kids' trash talk during a board game, which the child initiated, and then requesting to have room service in my child's room for dinner because they didn't want to be outside with the others. Then mom lectured the kids in our home for the kids, and the kids were thoughtful and empathetic to the idea that the child was upset but appalled at the allegations and rather shaken. Needless to say, the child is no longer welcome in our home. Providing free childcare over a weekend and dealing with this tire fire is not what anyone needs during their free time. Amen. Ambivalent apoplectic says this is exactly the type of parent who will scream on social media that it takes a village but will spend actually none of their own time with kids from the community. OP says, I'm lucky to have the flex time in my life to be the village, but at some point the drama is not for me. Don't blame you. Second top right comment is from Andy Man. Well, I would never intentionally bring a younger child. It comes a point where you must put your own children first in your own homes. Years ago, I was a foster parent, and they told us in training that vehemently opposed fostering children older than your own for the safety of your children and maintaining the hierarchy among them. This child you speak of is definitely a risk to the other child's well-being. Physical harm is not the only thing to be concerned about. You experience with the child's mom trying to blame your own children for your child's behavior. Exactly. Bad Palm says, if she's working so much, the kid may not have a chance to learn or may be acting out. Either of those things is your Neither of those things is your problem, but it's sad for the kid. You can't set yourself on fire to keep everyone else warm. Exactly. This is from Ono Consequences. Idiot burns his hands touching hot metal to steal food. It's a video. I guess that didn't go so well for him. That did not go so well for him. I just want to asks, but why? Mauricio says it's probably a thief of opportunity he didn't plan on. He saw a chance to steal food and tried and failed miserably. The kebab is the most eye-catching thing in the room, so it's probably the most probable reason. He might just be stupid. Second top comments from Bitter Lab, and they say improvised super stupidity. Random Otter says I'm using that one. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I'm quoting you on that someday. Bitter Lab answers, ironically enough, I believe somebody opposite is funny or plain stupidity, but it's not as punchy. Gene Conscious says, LOL, I'm picturing him running down the street with that whole thing over like Batman. Okay, we're not doing that one. Opie says, no, that would have been hilarious. Mildly infuriating, entitled, I sat on a bench and left a bruise on both cheeks, not safe for work censoring. They do have a picture of the bruise. I will show you the bench so you can imagine what the bruise looks like. That's the bench, so you can imagine what the bruise looked like. How do you get bruised from that? You need to have your iron levels checked. Also, your thyroid. Pessimism is realism. This is a top right comment. They say the censoring is safe for work, but this is harder to explain. Say Bellyache says I'd rather explain porn to my boss. Somebody put a smiley face on the censoring. The censored image. She just completely backened herself out. Somebody put a smiley face on it. Next time, Wang Yu Karen. Innocent tile. Karen gets caught stealing from tip jar. Karen daughter tries fake crying. It's from YouTube. Do I share it? I don't have
This mistake could harm hometown banks.
On June 16th, 2024, officers
I do not
responded to a
want it.
call regarding a woman who had
Oh,
just
sorry.
stolen $20 out of a local coffee shop's tip jar.
We're not watching 20 minutes of that. We'll just go to the comments. Irrelevant Manatee says, satisfying karma. Some people are so entitled they think they can get away with anything. She might have only stole $20, but the distress when she told she was going to jail and stay overnight was priceless. Glad the coffee lady pressed charges. She seemed bad to bother. She seemed so sad about bothering the police officer over $20. Good for her for standing up for herself. Even if the theft was not a huge one, it's not acceptable and no one should get away with it. 100%. I'm glad she had to go to jail. Ezra Tip says the way the daughter goes from whimpering and fake crying to her voice being perfectly clear and arguing, I didn't do it. There's no such scheme. Red Dot Man says it's definitely not her first time doing this, however, the first time getting caught. Bunch of low life stealing from hardworking people. Exactly. I am going to watch that later. I will put the. We'll put a link in the thing in the description. I will put a link in the description. Right below the tagline. I'm going to go watch that later. You should too. And then come back here and tell me about tomorrow. Next is, am I overreacting? AIO to think my friend is a liar. AIO for thinking that my friend lied to me. Sorry for my bad English, is not my first language. I lent him money he was supposed to give back to me yesterday, but instead of meeting, he sent me this picture and told me he had an accident, pepper spray or something. I don't know, that looks pretty legit to me. I don't know, hard to say. I mean, the background is out of focus, like not AI. I was supposed to give it back to yesterday, but instead of meeting, he sent me this picture and told me he had some accident pepper spray or something. He's in the hospital because he has to have some kind of oxygen therapy. I think it's a fake photo. I'm very upset. He insists it's real. Am I overreacting? Why don't you go to the hospital and find out? Went to better. Says NOR, there's no need for that mask to have 3 hoses when all it does is deliver some pressurized air. Sign an anesthesiologist. It might be fake. I don't know. Like I said, go to the hospital and find out. Silver Setvia Stolar Star says, Brendan is a scammer. Have you met in real life? Ricky Clark says, I was going too far to find this comment. It's literally the second comment. LP doesn't answer. I think LP might be AI. Penguin says, it's definitely AI. That breathing apparatus doesn't even make sense. Or it could just be Photoshop, not AI. It looks more like Photoshop to me. Next, my best friend updates AITA for telling my boyfriend that his masculinity was fragile after he refused to buy me pads. Nope. This was originally posted in the A-hole. Original post May 23rd, 2020. Throw away because my boyfriend knows my other account. I, 23 female, moved in with my boyfriend, 24 male, 2 years, a couple of months ago. We haven't had any problems before this argument. Things have been going pretty well. Anyway, a couple days ago, I got my period. It came early and I ran out of pads. I couldn't leave to buy some because I bleed pretty heavily and it would have been bled through my pants. Yeah, that's when you need somebody else to go help you. Especially if it comes up early. You're not expecting it. You didn't get what you needed before it started because it came early. I asked my boyfriend if he could go buy pads from the drugstore because it was late. He immediately said no, and I was shocked because I really wasn't expecting that. I asked him why. He said that he didn't want the cashier seeing him buying pads. You poor little fragile little boy. My son's. I don't think I've ever refused. My husband would even buy him, and he was raised, in the 60s when boys didn't do that. At this point, I started laughing because it was hilarious. He wasn't joking, though. He just glared at me, and I told him that the cashier would obviously know it wasn't for him. Plus, the cashier would definitely not care what he was buying. He still refused, so I told him that he could go to the self-checkout machine if he was so insecure, but he said he didn't want anyone to see him with pads because they think he was a tranny. Please, this guy. Dump this guy. This guy is not worth your time of day. I told him he was childish and that his masculinity was really fragile. He couldn't even buy pads for his own girlfriend. He got mad and went out. I had to bundle up toilet paper as a makeshift pad, wear black pants and a long cardigan, and go buy the pads myself. My boyfriend is ignoring me ever since. I've been thinking maybe I pushed it too far. No, yeah. So AITA for telling my boyfriend his masculinity was fragile after he refused to buy me pads. No. Edit well, think for all the plans. Definitely going to have a serious talk with my boyfriend in the morning about this. Verdict not at the a-hole. Religion conflict from spoonful of rage. NTA, if he's man enough to go buy condoms, he should be man enough to buy other genital-related products. He's more concerned what a random cashier number 34 is thinking about him than he is doing something for you as a boyfriend. Wonder why he's so insecure about random strangers thinking he might be trans. This is quite a leap in the thought process. Did he have that problem before? Well, he says, no, this was really shocking to me. I've never asked him to buy pads for me before. We've never lived together, but honestly, I didn't think he would react like this. I also didn't know he was transphobe, so that didn't quite sit well with me. Capitalist House is absolutely NTA. I would do this for my girlfriend in a heartbeat, no questions asked. It's not that much to ask, especially when you're in need. The fact that I use the word tranny really drives home how wrong he is in the scenario. He really needs to reevaluate his priorities here. This is unacceptable and doesn't seem like fragile masculinity to me, but toxic masculinity. Edit, I hope this isn't regular behavior on his part. It represents a massive lack of maturity and empathy. And frankly, he should be embarrassed. There's no scenario in which you would be the a-hole for this. I sure hope he hasn't made you feel that way. Sorry, you got to deal with this legitimately. It upsets me to imagine anyone would be that way. Oh, he says, thanks. Honestly, I was a little shocked because I've never seen him act like this before. It's like I was seeing a whole new side of him. It was disappointing. Uncooked Rat says, NTA, I'm 18 and my 60-year-old dad will go and buy pads if I need them. Also, his tranny comment makes me so mad I can't believe people still think like that. Oh, he says, yeah, transphobia is horrible. I was shocked when he said it. My dad used to buy me pads too when I lived at home. Update to the post the next day. Update. First off, thank you for all your words, replies, and stories. They all mean so much to me. I confronted my boyfriend an hour ago. We sat down together. I told him I didn't like how he behaved about buying pads for me. He said he didn't feel like he had to, and that I could have held it in and driven to the store to get pads. Why do men think we can hold that in? Can you hold yourself in when you're bleeding? No, you cannot. I told him you can't hold it in, Mr. Blood, but he just insisted that I could have done it for a few minutes and that it wouldn't be a big deal. We went back and forth, so I just dropped it. I asked him, like most of you mentioned, what would happen if we have kids and he'd have to take care of me and buy me nipple cream to take me to the washroom. He said that I would not need those things because I should be able to do them on my own after giving birth. Has he never taken care of anyone who's had an operation? He said there wasn't anything hard about using the bathroom, and the only reason I'd need help is if were a cripple. And then I asked about the training comment. He said that he didn't understand why people wanted to change gender they were born in, and that basically cemented everything for me. I feel completely betrayed and humiliated. I can't believe I spent 2 years of my life with a guy who holds in these views. How could you not know? I mean, this comes up in conversation like all the time in my household. Do you just not talk about stuff? What do you do that you're not talking about stuff that's going on in the world? Can't believe I was so too oblivious to it. I just feel dumb and I told him we needed to break up. He cursed at me and told me I was exaggerating and I was being a bitch. I told him I would send my half of this month's rent. We lived together, but it was his apartment, so we split the rent. I packed up my bags and drove to my parents' house without saying another word. I'm going to be staying with my parents until I sort myself out. I really feel down now because I really did love him and I felt so relieved, and thank you for all for helping me out and encouraging me. I wonder if she has any other. That's the wrong one. I always the wrong one on these. That's the only post. Sadly ambitious. Slippers and Jammy says this guy shouldn't be allowed to have sex with a woman until he reads a biology textbook, and then he shouldn't be allowed to have sex with anyone because he's a dick. The Magnificent says, I like the way you think. Desiree Times says, got his arm open, Hoss, and hold it in. Exactly. Just so you guys know, it doesn't work that way, boys. You cannot hold that in. It's not pee. It's not pee. There are not muscles to do that there. And you can't always hold in pee either, just so you know, just so you're aware. Icky Trueband said this guy should never again know the touch of a woman since he clearly has no idea how we work. Avast has no sleeve says you can just hold it in. It's awful so many men think that sex ed in our country is a joke. Sad, horrific joke. Yeah, that's because we don't have sex ed in this country. We have abstinence demands in this country, not sex ed. It's not an education. Machine Dove answers that. I heard a story about a senator who wouldn't let one of his staffers restroom break when her period started unexpectedly. She was all, okay, but I'm going to bleed through my clothes onto this chair. He was shocked because he thought women could just hold it with what? The vaginal sphincter? Not a thing, my bro. And menstrual supplies are basically sex toys at this. And this man felt empowered to make laws involving reproductive choices, despite not having the teeniest inkling of any idea how bodies work. The audacity of cis men is boundless. True. Autobot Silverwind says, wow, just wow. When I had a monster period over 20 years ago, I needed tampons. You know what my husband did? The exact opposite of this dipshit. Dipshitiot. I like that. Dipshitiot. That's what. Good riddance to that tool. Queen of Sneezes says, when I got my appendix out last year, I realized I probably might start my period before I got out of the hospital. My fiance touched the actual tampons themselves, silver and put them in my overnight bag instead of packing the whole jumbo box. I think the OP's guide would find it to do that. East Bay Magpie says, the whore, is your fiance a woman now? Of course, sarcasm. Little things make you smile. This is our last read. It's not a read, it's a It's a video. Usually these are makes me smile.
This nice fireman cut a hole in my son's hat to fit over his hair.
Aw. Yeah,
So
you're not
nice.
taking that out.
Try now, Ken.
That's sweet. That's what you should do. That's great.
Amazing. Thank you. Ken, how cool is that? How cool. I love it.
That's awesome. Little kid got to wear a spot cap. That's how you do it, people. Well, that's all I got for the day. Thank goodness. I'm gonna go rest now. I'm not gonna rest now. I'm gonna work now. Work some more. Maybe I'll watch whatever I need to watch next. Maybe tomorrow morning I'll work on. And if I get home in time after, I'll work on it. I'm sorry, I'm useless. I am useless. I admit it. I don't know what day Balin comes on. Balin Out Loud comes on. So that's the next one I'll do probably. We'll skip the other two for the week. Don't forget next week is 3 days, but I'll probably be more up on stuff. I also have to do something in here before I do that. Because I'm getting a new headboard. You can see that little ship back there? Isn't it cute? It sings. It sings. Maybe I'll use that for theme music, opening theme music. Every day. Wind her up. Let her go. It's my little ship. I like it. We were gonna like give it away. I forget where we got it from. I think some friend of my husband's. I like it, but I was willing to give it up. My husband's like, "Why don't you put it in your room?" I'm like, "Okay." It'll go with my bridge that I have in here. Like brass bridge, my brass little ship. All right, that's all I have for today, biddies. Have a good day. Love you all. Bye. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Bye. Take care. Bye. Love you all. Bye.